When I set goals, I'm trying to stretch myself. I'm trying to push my capability. I'm trying to set goals that are putting me out of my comfort zone. What's most important to me in going after goals is the growth of who I'm becoming, new skills, new changes in my life, is that I'm becoming a better version of myself. I'm not always going to hit my goals. If at the end of the year, maybe I didn't hit my goal completely, but can I reflect? Did I become the person I wanted to be? And did I grow how I wanted to grow? The practice is not the means to the outcome. It is the outcome because it is the only thing we can control. Welcome back to Over Dinner, our first solo episode of the season. I'm Jarrod. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. We appreciate the engagement and engaging with our audience. So to start off the new year, Nikki and I did our first couples episode of the year regarding how to set goals, reflect, thinking about in your relationship and in your family, what the next year is going to look like. What I wanted to do in this episode is kind of take the individual approach to this, which is very similar, but has some nuances. Because I think goals are important. Goals set a direction, they set a target, a destination we want to get to. But I think of goals in a little bit of a different way. Because I think it's really easy just to start the year and go, these are some goals, whether these are both personal and professional. So that could be some health goals, personal goals you have in your life from finances, different things. And then in work, it could be growth in your role, getting a promotion, delivering on some certain projects. I think everything I will talk about today serves in both those purposes and just a little bit of a different way to look at goals. So I do believe, though, prior to setting goals, there does require some reflection. We need to reflect on the past year, get clear on what the last year was for us. Where have we grown? Where have we come from? Where are some areas we wanted to improve? And it's really important to come into 2025 and having reflected and looking ahead is what is most important to us in this year? What's most important to us from a personal side, professional side, whatever way you're trying to set goals in whatever part of your life. It could be both. And then the big thing is, what changes would you like to make? So I think goals, as I said, serve a few purposes. One is just having a target, an end in sight, a place you want to get to. But I think the other thing, we typically use goals because we want to grow and evolve as a person. I think that's the most important part of goals. It helps us grow. It helps us learn new skills. It helps us change some things in our lives. It helps us become the person we want to be. Nikki and I talked a lot about identity in our first episode. I think that's really important. Who do you want to be at the end of the year? I think it's a great question to start with is who do I want to be at the end of the year? What do I want to feel like at the end of the year? And then aligning to, okay, if that's the person I want to be both personally and professionally, what would that person have accomplished in that year to be that identity and to feel that way? So I think it's something really interesting to think about is don't just go straight into goals because it's really easy just to set a target without having put some thought into it. I think the reflection piece is really important. And then really thinking about who do you want to be at the end of the year, some attributes of that person you want to be, and what goals would I need to hit or set in order to become that person. So by different approaches, I feel most of us, when we start the process of setting goals, we just set a goal and then go, and then just start getting after it. Something I think a lot about, I think people miss, is putting a lot of preparation into going after your goals. I think there's so much more we can do prior to starting to attack our goals and starting to try to go execute on them. I think there's a lot we can do before that when we know our goal and then preparing, doing a couple things beforehand that'll help us give us the best opportunity to hit our goals. Because in my eyes, the most difficult thing about goals is I pretty much think all goals, whether personally or professionally, are not fully within our control. And that's a hard thing to grasp. Typically, goals require something external, something else, something outside of us happening, some other people. Could be circumstances, the economy, other variables have to go a certain way in order for us to hit our goals. So the best way for me to counter these variables that are might get in the way of us hitting our goals is preparation. What can I control in the way I approach my goals so that gives me the best opportunity to hit them? I spend a lot of time setting up my environment and my approach to hitting my goals. I think that helps me feel like I have the best opportunity to hit my goals. Yes, I want to hit my goals. I want to hit all of them. But what's most important to me in going after goals is the growth of who I'm becoming, new skills, new changes in my life, is that I'm becoming a better version of myself, again, hitting that identity. Because I'm not always going to perfectly hit my goals because, like, as I said before, all these other circumstances are happening around us that have to go just right in order to hit our goals. So if at the end of the year, maybe I didn't hit my goal completely, but can I reflect? Did I become the person I wanted to be? And did I grow how I wanted to grow? So I'm going to walk through 5 stages of how I go about setting goals, but most importantly, the preparation that I go through um, before I start getting after it, before I start attacking my goals and putting that into my day and my intention. So the first thing is, what is your goal? The first question I ask is my goal internally or externally driven? I really believe we don't do anything with energy and effort if we don't have a clear why. So if you have your goal, the next question should be, why is that my goal? And if that goal is externally driven, meaning because I think that's where I'm supposed to go. I see other people doing it. I'm seeing it on Instagram. Somebody told me that should be my goal. It's going to be a lot harder to put the energy and effort into achieving it when it's really externally driven. It really should become internal. I want this goal because that's the person I want to become. I want to hit this goal because I want this identity shift, and that's the person I want to be at the end of the year. So I believe if our goals are more internally driven, it gives us a better chance of success. And we're going to set better goals that way because we're going to have more invested in it. So, what is my goal? Why? And is it externally driven or is it internally driven? Because we want to make sure it's internally driven, that I have this constant motivation inside me versus I have to continue to be externally motivated to hit my goal. Now, I think the second piece, number 2, is probably the most important part of goal setting. I think when I set goals, I'm trying to stretch myself. I'm trying to push my capability. I'm trying to set goals that are putting me out of my comfort zone. Because if I set a goal that I'm like, that's going to be really easy to hit, it doesn't feel strong enough to me. My goals that I want to hit are going to force me to have to grow throughout the year. So, what can I control within that to know that I will grow and to give me the best chance of actually hitting that stretch or big goal I have set for myself? So the next question I ask is, what skills or behaviors do I need to achieve my goal? Right? So the first thing is skill acquisition. Typically, when I set goals, they're outside of the skills I currently possess. That's either personally or professionally. One this year for me is going to be getting my finances better and in order. I want to create a system in my life and for my family that allows us to grow wealth. And that is something that I do not have the skills at right now. So when I'm looking at that goal, I have to go, okay, what skills do I need to go acquire, possess, learn to give me the best shot of actually hitting that financial growth potential of my wealth, right? So most goals require us to change or to add. So we need to understand, okay, if that's the goal at the end of the year, what skills does someone need to possess in order to hit that goal? Which of those skills do I lack? That gives me something I can go do and be within my control to go learn that skill, whether that's through taking a class, whether that's through reading, whether that's through getting a mentor. The second part of that, which is the behaviors, right? So behaviors you can also equate to habits. So typically when I look at my goals, there's new habits and new behaviors that I need to possess in order to hit my goals. So I need to change some things in my day-to-day habits, my weekly habits, and my monthly habits that are going to help me give me the best opportunity to hit my goal. So let's go back to the being better with my finances to help my family grow long-term wealth. Well, that's a skill I don't have. And the behavior shift I need to do is be more intentional of looking at my financing and having a system in place. I don't really track that right now. I don't track where our spending is. I don't have a way to know how much is going out where, how much is incoming versus how much is outgoing. So I need to create a better system in place to do that. And something that I've been trying to do, and I tried it last year, and I did it for a couple months, and then I lost it. But this is something I need to do this year better at. Is I have this tracker that was given to me that I was going in every Sunday, and I was inputting everything that we spent that week, and it would populate, right? So it would know my income and how much I was bringing in. And then I'd have buckets. So I'd have pretty much everything that was automatic. So mortgage payments, car payments, electric bill, insurance, all that, right? So I would know automatically how much was being taken out. And then I budgeted each month for food, miscellaneous, entertainment, going on date nights, activities for our kids, more clothes we need to buy, all these things that are going to cost a different amount every month. But I tried to put bucket how much I wanted to spend to those. So when I'm inputting each month, I could see how much that was taking out. Right. So again, I tried this last year. I did it for a couple months, didn't do a great job of staying on that habit, but that's something, it's a new behavior I need to shift and put in my calendar. It got hard because we're doing this podcast and a lot of the Sundays that we have are for the podcast, but that's something me and Nikki have continued to talk about, and something we got away as a habit was we had these Sunday meetings where we talk about, okay, what's upcoming for the week? Are there any additional things that we're going to be spending that aren't things that we typically spend on? Are we spending more somewhere where we got to learn that we have to, okay, for this week, we can't spend as much here. So that's a habit we're going to create and I need to create. And then putting these inputs of what I'm spending and what we're spending as a family into this document. So do have a best chance of understanding that where I can save in order to grow more wealth and invest for my family. So that's a really big one. Again, this is where the growth to me happens in going after my goals, right? If I'm learning new skills and I'm incorporating new behaviors into my life, I'm going to grow as an individual. It's going to help me reach my goals, but also help me become the person that I want to be, the person that achieves this financial long-term wealth for my family. Third bucket, I call it observe your opportunities. And this is something that I found extremely beneficial. It's also called a pre-mortem. I actually do this with clients in the work I do. So essentially what we're trying to do is, okay, I have my goal. I know it's far out. I know what it looks like. I know the skills and behaviors that were within my control that I need to acquire or change in order to hit my goal. What I can do next is look ahead and go, what might get in the way of me hitting this goal? We're not going to know everything, but there's going to be roadblocks and bumps. And there's some that we can already anticipate that are going to hurt us or challenge us, cause roadblocks for us in hitting our goals. So how do I look ahead and go, all right, what's going to come up in this year that's going to hold us back from hitting my goal? If I can pick 4 or 5 big things and then actually set more preparation for those moments, when those moments come, I'm not being reactive. I'm not thrown off. I'm actually more prepared because I was ready for that moment to happen. So something I know this year that's going to be happening is we are continuing the renovations in our backyard. We are going to put down artificial turf. I know that's going to cost us a lot of money, and a big chunk of the income this year will be going to those renovations in the backyard. So that's something I can prepare for now, knowing from a financial perspective that that money is going out. And that big chunk I have to think about when I'm thinking about how much we're spending on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. So that's something I got to prepare for. So when I look at budgeting for us each week and each month, I can know that we probably need a lesson in some areas where we can, because I know that I need to counteract that big payment going out. So what we like to do is I like to write down those 4 or 5 things I know might get in the way. And I kind of write out what I'm going to do in order to counteract that. So I'll write out a plan of, okay, when this moment comes up or when these things come up, this is how I'm going to respond and this is what I'm going to do. So I'm not overwhelmed. I actually have a plan in place to go after that. Again, I'm not going to be able to know everything that's going to happen throughout the year, but at least this gives me a muscle and some big things I do know that I can make a commitment to, that when that moment happens, that I'm going to approach it that way. So that's number 3. Number 4, I say build an action plan. I've been really surprised in doing work externally with clients and leaders. When they set a goal, they really don't break it down into smaller steps. You have this big goal at the end of the year, and then you just go, and then you pick your head up halfway, 3/4 of the year, or at the end of the year, and you're like, I didn't hit it. But you really didn't break it down, right? Because it seems so lofty, these big goals that we set, that I'm so far away. So what I like to do is break it down, create a daily focus, create a weekly focus, create a monthly focus, and create a quarterly focus. All right, what do I got to do this week, right? That's going to give me momentum to hit what I got to do for the month. And then what I got to do each month that helps me challenge that quarter. So if I can break it down to smaller chunks, it makes it seem more manageable. It makes it seem more feasible, but also it builds momentum and belief. The reason being is I'm hitting these micro goals within these large goals. We're in a society now with delayed gratification, right? We want it now. So if I have to wait till the end of the year to know if I hit my goal or not, sometimes that's way too long and I'll give up along the way because I'm not getting that dopamine hit. I'm not getting that reinforcement that I'm hitting some targets and some things that I want to accomplish. So if I can do that on a weekly basis and go, all right, I hit this week, that's going to keep me going. It's going to give me momentum. It's going to give me more energy. If I can crush this month, if I can crush this quarter, what it also does is allows me on a weekly, monthly, and quarterly basis to kind of slow down on the week. Okay, if I didn't hit what I wanted to hit that week, what went wrong? What didn't I do? Did I not enact the behaviors I wanted? Did something else get in the way? It allows me to make these little adjustments throughout the year when I get off the path or I'm not on track to hit my goal, to make some minor adjustments. Because as I said, things are going to get in the way. And what else might happen? The goal might change, right? We set these goals. I've seen organizations do it. I've seen leaders do it or teams do it. But that goals evolves because things change in our external environment. or internally in our family dynamics and things happening in our company, things change, which makes me have to adjust. And I think sometimes we're afraid to make adjustments to our goals because we set them like, no, that's the goal. I have to hit it. It's okay to make adjustments to your goals because things happen. You might push it because like I'm way on course. I can stretch this thing a little bit more, or hey, I need to adjust it because some other things happen that that goal is now not going to be feasible in the way I set it up. I need to move it this way or adjust it this way. So when you break your goal down into weekly, monthly, and quarterly targets that help you lead up to the big goal, it allows you also to think through where you can make an adjustment. So what do I need to do today, this week, to give myself the best opportunity to hit that goal? And again, it helps you keep that momentum and energy up because you are getting that reinforcement and you are getting that hit. The last thing I do, and not everyone does this, this is just something that helps me. I like to create a theme for my goals. So I always say each year I have the year of. I love themes for my life, something that when those moments get hard, when I feel like I'm off track, it just reminds me and it can be a trigger for me to get back in the focus. So we get distracted. We're humans. We fall off course. So I usually like one word or a phrase for the year. And for me this year, and I like to keep them both personally and professionally. I don't want two words that are separate between the two. So for me, what I saw last year is I created a bunch of these habits, but I fell off course. So as I said, some of the finance stuff was a goal of mine last year, and I fall off course on that monthly tracker that I was using each week to track my finances. And same in work. I had some habits. I was trying to be more of a thought leader in my organization and do some writing, send some LinkedIn posts, reach out to my organization, share some of my leadership thoughts, and I lost track of that as well. So word of the year for me is consistency. Just being consistent with the new habits, the new things I incorporate in my life. I want to stay consistent. And so for me, that hits both my personal and professional goals. It's a word that I can have top of mind. I can have it posted in my office. I can have it at home. That when I feel like I'm off track, I go, Jarrod, be consistent. Remember, it's about being consistency. And that's going to really help me and recenters me when I need it. So to wrap it all up, as I said, my whole intention of this episode and what I'm trying to share is that the preparation I go into prior to attacking my goal. So everything I talked about in this, I wasn't even doing anything yet. This was just me setting up my approach to hitting my goal and setting up my year and setting up some moments for me so that I have the best opportunity to hit my goal. Because as I said before, they're not fully within our control. So I need to manage and take control of what I can and be the best in those areas, right? So number one, what is your goal? But most importantly, why? We want our goals to be internally driven. We do not want them to be externally driven. We want our goals to be something that is motivating internally for us, that's helping us become the person that we want to become. Second piece is this is where the growth comes in. Goals should challenge us to grow as an individual. So what skills do I need to acquire this year and what behavior or habit change do I need to make in my day-to-day in order to achieve my goals? Third piece, I call it observe your opportunities. You can also call it a pre-mortem. But can I look ahead and anticipate some major roadblocks that are going to get in the way of me hitting my goals? And can I prepare for those moments? So I don't have to be reactive. It doesn't overwhelm me, but I have a plan in place and I make a commitment to myself now that when those moments happen, I'll be prepared and I have a way to counter those. And then lastly is building the action plan, which is breaking that goal down into small chunks, right? Weekly, monthly, quarterly. What do I need to achieve on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis in order for me to have the best opportunity to create momentum to hit my goals? And then the fifth piece is optional, but for me, having a word or a phrase that matches both my personal and professional goals just helps me stay on track. It's a theme for the year. I can reference it over and over again. And as I said, for me, the word of the year is consistency. What I want to leave you with is one of my favorite quotes that I hope resonates with you, because I don't think hitting goals is the ultimate goal. To me, it's more the discipline, the daily habits, and the growth we gain in pursuit of them. And that to me is the most important part. At the end of the year, I want to know that I grew. I want to know that I grew personally and professionally. And if I hit my goals, that's just icing on the cake. But for me, it's growth, because I know if I'm growing, if I'm getting new skills, if I'm growing in the way I'm approaching my day and my life and my habits and behaviors are better, then that's the win. Then more likely than not, I'm going to hit a lot of goals. Maybe the goals I didn't set, but a lot of great things are going to happen in my life. So the quote I want to leave you with is, the practice is not the means to the outcome. It is the outcome because it's the only thing we can't control. I'll say it one more time. The practice is not the means to the outcome. It is the outcome because it is the only thing we can control. We control our practice, our habits, our energy, our effort, our discipline every day. And that's the win. And that's how we win in life, personally and professionally. I hope this episode was helpful. If you have any tips, tricks of how you approach goal setting personally and professionally, please share. Let me know if this resonated you, which part was most inspiring or can help you most in hitting all your big goals for 2025. And I hope you have a wonderful year of discipline, of growth, because again, that is how we win. Thanks for listening in. We'll see you next week.